It's no longer you need to try to tell your story in 3 or 4 minutes. It's like telling your story in 40 minutes. So the buildup is quite different as an experience for us, but also for the listener.
Welcome to the Dreams of Consciousness podcast. If you'd be so kind, would you mind introducing yourself?
Hi, my name is Tuur. I'm the guitar player and vocalist of the Belgian metal band Mother.
And Tuur, how would you describe the style of metal that you play with Mother?
I feel like it's a combination of post metal combined with some sludge and black influences.
When you say post metal, what do you mean actually?
I feel like, especially in the first album we did, there are very open passages, slow stuff that are in the same realm as the Church of Ra. But with the second album, we evolved our playing, our music style with more of black metal, fast basses, and some parts also the sludgy influences. Yeah.
So, Church of Ra is the collective that the Amun Ra guys come from.
Hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
and they're based in Belgium too, right?
Yeah. It's like a collective that was like raised with Amra, of course, and it I think today it gathers all the projects that are Amun-Ra linked. Like all the musicians who play in Amun-Ra have their side projects and other projects they do, and it's like a collection of those bands. And I feel like, as we're also a Belgian band, and of course we know Amun-Ra and the Church of Ra, I would say people might feel influences coming from there, which definitely are in our realm of music listening. So yeah.
Now, is post metal popular in Belgium? Are there a lot of bands? Because I actually did interview another post metal band from Belgium
Hmm.
called Dissolve Patterns.
Oh yeah. I feel like with every genre there is like a wave, and I think there was a big wave a couple of years ago with like bands like Potamus, who are more in the sludgy area. But they were definitely in Belgium. There was a rise of post metal bands and the likes. I do feel like there is some hardcore and punk coming up in Belgium right now. So I feel like that's the trend. But there is definitely still post metal in Belgium.
Okay. And in Belgium, do you mostly speak French?
No, we're at the Flemish part.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're one of those strange countries.
All I know about Belgium is chocolates and Tintin.
Yeah, that's the most important stuff.
And waffles.
Yeah, waffles, of course.
Can you tell me a little bit about how Mother came together and what your goals were when you formed the band?
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, it came to be in like 2017. We started writing. It's a band that I originated with my brother Tom. He plays the drums, and then we got in touch with Lynn, who's like a friend of mine who I got to know in school back in the days, and we asked her to play bass. And there was always I always was a big fan of bands like the Ocean Collective, my brother also, the Ocean Collective, but also like the French band and even Structure, Tesseract, so more in the progressive metal scene, where they had like a lot of longer songs and concept albums, which if you like, Uneven Structure is basically my favorite band musically. And they had like an album, Fibrous, which they released in like, I think it is 2011. And even though it are different songs, it is one album. So you can, without seeing in which song you are, it's like one long song. And I was very influenced by the idea of writing, because you get rid of the typical ways of thinking on song structure. It's no longer you need to try to tell your story in 3 or 4 minutes. It's like telling your story in 40 minutes. So the buildup is quite different as an experience for us, but also for the listener. So we started experimenting with that. So we started writing like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, jammed a bit, rehearsed it until we felt like this is the way we wanted to go. And then we basically wrote a song that was 40 minutes, and that was one. Yeah. And then we released it in 2020. We did it on our own. We pressed our vinyls and stuff. And then we got in touch with Consoling Sounds, who I think were impressed with the album. And then we started working together for the next album we did. It's like, for us, it's like a sort of EP vibe. It was the interlude one, which for us was like, because it was in midst of Corona, COVID-19, and it was for us like a way to separate or do something while it was Corona, but not releasing a full album. So it was like a way to break away and still write music and do something else before we started on working and finishing our second album, which is now released too. Because one of the bigger ideas we had is, if I'm rambling too much, just cut me off.
No, 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 no. Please go ahead.
Because one of the ideas we had from the start is, what if we write a song, one song that is a full album, but the next album should be also listenable after the first album. So what we did is write an open ending on one, which is musically, if I would show you the guitar chords and stuff and the beats per minute and stuff, it should be perfectly alignable with the second album. So you should be able to listen it at one big piece. And we also like decided to put that idea musically to also like have it visually. So we decided to find an artwork that we all liked, and we cut it up in multiple pieces. And then we decided to use the first part for one, and now we have the second part. So if you put the two albums, the vinyls or the CDs, depending on how you open the CDs, you could place them next to each other and it will form one big artwork. So that's what we're at right now.
So the albums 1 and 2 are literally part 1 and part 2 of a
Yeah.
larger composition. Okay, gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the way that the first album is cut up on the streaming platforms and on Bandcamp and stuff like that, is that just purely for the platform?
Yeah.
Did you intend for the album to be listened to in one big section?
We discussed internally. We were like, are we going to release it as one big song, or are we going to cut it up to have it more listenable for streaming platforms and stuff? And ultimately, we decided to cut it up for one. But to be honest, if I would do it again, I would just release it as one, as we've done it with two. Because for two, we were like, fuck it. I'm sorry if I curse on the podcast. I'm not sure if it's loud.
No, no, no. That's fine. That's fine. Don't worry.
But we were like, just let's do our original idea and like just release it as we intended. So where we were like very inexperienced and doubting, like, oh, should we split the album into songs, even though it's written as one album, as one song, for the sake of streaming, we now decided to not care about streaming and numbers and stuff. We just wanted to have the artistic idea out there as we wanted it.
So you mentioned that you and your brother Tuur write the material in jams, right together in the rehearsal space.
Yeah.
In terms of the way that you end up arranging the sections that you come up with, how do you usually do it? I spoke to another band who also write long, kind of epic black metal compositions, and they use things like a whiteboard to diagram the arrangement so that they so that they can remember it when they're rehearsing. Yeah.
Oh no, that's actually a good idea. We should try it. But what happens for us is I'm the main writer as I try to come up with riffs and bigger passages. And then I piggyback it with Tom and Lynn. I send them, like, I always like demo the stuff. I record a lot of stuff at home. Then I demo it at them. I tell them, how do you feel when you listen to this music. And if it feels right, I try to build more around it. And then I take it to a rehearsal where we just like play the parts. It could be 5 minutes, it could be like 1 minute, it could be 10 minutes. We play it, we try to feel the song, the riffs, it resonates with us. And from there on out, it sometimes we just accidentally find another riff to work towards it, or we just come up with like, okay, so this is where this part could be in the whole album, because sometimes you feel like this is a this is for an intro, or this is more like an outro, or this is somewhere in the middle ish, which is maybe kind of weird because it's like a 40-minute experience. And then you start working before and after it, or you feel like, oh, this is a heavy passage. Should we go heavier, or should we like calm it down a bit and evolve the music to some other place? So that mostly happens at rehearsals. So it's not like a typical jam of like playing a four chord song and somebody jamming over it or soloing over it. It's more like feeling the stuff when we play it live, see how it goes.
So the demos that you sent to Toon and Lin,
Hmm.
what form are they? Do you do like pre-pro drums in Pro Tools or anything like that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
No, I try because I always hated back in the days when I was playing in my first bands. You get those cell phone recorded guitar tracks from an amp or something like that, which sound shitty. So I always feel like if you want to convince somebody of the idea of what you're trying to show them, try to make it as full as possible. So I do track some bass and guitars and some MIDI drums. Sometimes I also just like scream on top of it, not even words or sentences, just like a scream. So you feel like this is the impact the riff should have at that moment. And from there on out, Lynn and Tone get to play with it on rehearsal. And I know I program a lot of drums just for the feel of it. Like, should this be halftime? Should this be a blast or whatever? But then it goes to Tone and he just like makes it his own, makes it more human because he always like, yeah, it's cool what you've written, but this is not humanly possible to do it this way, or it wouldn't feel correct to do it this way. So everything gets humanized to taste by Tone and Lynn. And sometimes it's just like this doesn't work. How can we change it?
Out of curiosity, since you and Toon are brothers,
Hmm.
how long have you guys been playing together?
Oh, well, I'm 31 and he's almost 34, and we've been playing like in and out and like other bands, sometimes even trying to start a band, doing two rehearsals and not working out. I feel like we might have jammed and did stuff like back when we were like 18, maybe 16. I remember him playing in his first bands while I was like still going to my first shows. So I went to his band shows and stuff. And I remember us rehearsing sometimes. Also, him filling in on the drums for bands I was playing in. So we've been like in and out playing like for years. But it's like with Mother in 2017 that we really felt like it was time to do something together and that we were like musically grown to the point where we could do something together.
That's awesome. You mentioned the influence of concept albums and
Hmm.
progressive rock bands. How much does the concept shape the form of the album, shape the song structure,
Hmm.
the album structure?
Hmm.
Do you have the lyrical concept in place before you start arranging the parts?
It depends. Good question, though. It really depends. I feel like there is an idea lyrically, but the music gets written first because to me, I feel like a lot of emotions get made when listening to the album. So of course, when you write a heavy riff, you're not going to feel too happy or the subject matter can be very light. Of course, it can be light, but there is a human aspect to sad songs or to happy songs, like the typical minor chords compared to the major chords. So a lot of music gets written. I do have like I do use my notes app on my phone, and whenever I'm like inspired by a word or like a moment in time where I feel emotions in every way possible, I do write them down to get inspiration, to draw inspiration from it. The moment I decide, like, all right, now I need to get the story out there. I need to find the story I want to write because the idea is there, but I need to fill in the blanks lyrically and then put it on the music. And sometimes it even means like rearranging music parts or telling the story in a different way. So there's a logical way of listening to it and reading it.
So the album that we're talking about is called Two,
Hmm.
and it was released at the end of October through Consoling Sounds.
Hmm.
I think you mentioned you started working on this during the pandemic.
Yeah, yeah.
When did you actually finish complete in terms of the song structure and get the album to the way you wanted
Hmm.
to flow?
Yeah. I remember indeed there was already music written I think that there was already music out there before we even released the interludes, but it was like the album was two was getting shaped, but because of the pandemic, we decided to write the interludes, and I think we finished up writing 23. I think 22. Yeah, 22. We were planning to go into the studio in the fall of 22, but then my brother, he like on a job tore, yeah, he basically messed up his knee and he tore like his meniscus and stuff. So it was like it was an operation and a very long rehab. I don't know, it's not a rehab, how do you call it?
Yeah, you can see rehab, I think.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Well, so it took a long time to get back on track for him because he needed to learn to use his foot, his leg again to drum. He needed to get those muscles back. So basically, everything got replaced for a complete year. So we were actually planning to release the album in 23. So it's been there for a while. So I'm very glad to get the album out there because it has been for a very long time on our drives. Yeah.
Do you guys record your albums in your own space?
Vocals, we do. Guitars, we guitars and bass, we also do. As in, we record the DIs and then we go to a studio to reamp them. And drums, we prefer to do in a studio just because of like the space. There is always more mics, and it's very nice to have somebody external to like have a different approach on how he would do things. And also because like drums is a very complicated instrument and you want to have it correct. You don't want to mess up drum recording. So we prefer to work with somebody else on that. So yeah, a lot of recording happens by us by ourselves at home. And then mixing, of course, we like to give it out, hand it out to somebody.
Which studio did you record the drums in?
It was in Boma Studios in Ghent. For me, I feel it's like a very, I think it's not really that much known studio. It's I feel like it was very hidden, but it was like recommended by Tim de Heater, who did our reamping and mixing process. He has like his own studio, Tim, Much Love Studios, and he also plays in Doodsaskader and Namen Ra. And we got to know him like a couple of years ago through a session we went to, and he was like he immediately made an impression on us. So we were like, we want to work together with him to have his way of thinking about music and recording. And we're very happy with the result that he did. Of course, it's a big step up from the previous recordings, which is always like something you strive for.
This was the first time you worked with Tim as as an engineer and as a mixer?
Yeah.
Well, what did you want Tim to bring to the sound of the album?
Tim has a very unique way in listening to music that's not his own. And he calls it himself the Much Love sauce, which is basically just like his train of thoughts and his gear he has at his studio to like make it bigger, make it massive. I also feel like the work that Tim does on other albums, he always tried to like, it always feels like it's been pushed to the max compared to me the album sounds very organically, but it's still like pushed, not to compete with the max volume wars, the mastering wars and stuff, but it felt like he had an approach that is different than ours, because like for the previous albums there was also something we did on purpose. We worked together with a producer that was not used to mixing metal and recording metal, and that also gave it an extra, because as he does not really know how metal sounds or should sound like in the typical way, you get an out of the box experience. And that's the same that we were looking with Tim. Even though he does metal, he has a very out of the box way of thinking about stuff, and he's not afraid to apply it when reamping. He has like a lot of amps at home, like the typical 5150s, Marshalls, and you would be like, oh, let's use the best of the best. But then he can get an idea. Oh, no, no, no. This sound we're going to do through a $10 amp because I know it will sound good. So it's just that way of thinking that we really appreciated with working with him.
Do you want to say anything about Jack Shirley, who mastered the album?
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, Jack Shirley. I remember Tim being like, where are we going to master? And I was like, I'm not sure where we're going to go yet. And the moment he said like, maybe I can recommend it to Jack Shirley to do it. I know he's busy, but he might if he likes it. For me, it was I was completely blown away because Jack Shirley for us is like Deaf Heaven, Oathbreaker, which is a Belgian band. I saw the documentary back in the days where Oathbreaker went to Jack Shirley to record the album. So for me, it's like he made such good albums. He mixed such good albums that it was like an honor for him to listen to our music and work on it. So I feel like he brought the finishing touch to the album. So I'm very grateful for that.
So with the release of two, this finishes a journey, or I don't even know if the journey is finished. Is there going to be a three? Are there plans for this to continue?
Well, I can say the artwork is not done.
Okay.
The story is not done. So there's definitely a room or a door waited to be opened for the next part.
Okay.
So I don't think I have to like hide what the next album title is going to be. So yeah, there's probably going to be a tree coming up.
Right, right, right. Well, you started this journey, 2017, 2018,
Hmm.
already with plans that there's going to be a part two.
Hmm.
Was there anything about part two that surprised you or that came out differently than what you expected it to be?
Mm. I think I think two came out heavier than I expected. Of course, there's going to be some sort of evolution, and I did always feel like two should be heavier because one is like an introduction to the world that you're building, and you try to like feel a bit where it's going to go because like two was not written when one was written, so of course there's like a lot of room to go. We could go softer, we could go harder, but I feel like what we wanted to do is definitely in there, but there is more. Maybe to just answer it lightly, there's more blast beats than I would think there would have been.
Okay.
Yeah, I think there's more blast beats, and I think the same for Tone. I also think he expected to be a lot less blast beats in there. But that's the cool thing. Like Tree could go anywhere we wanted to go. So yeah, blast beats.
And are you already working on riffs and ideas for three?
Not right now. There, we have ideas because the way of how two ends, there is for us already a mood, a setting built to where we want to start with three. There is not actively anything being written or like written down already because we also like to take some time between because like writing a full album and releasing it and then starting on a full album again is sometimes very artistically heavy to keep doing it. And that's also a bit like the pandemic we had. And so we released Interlude One, but it was also like a way of let's try writing something shorter that where the same sort of buildup is in, but that is more manageable in a way. So I do feel like before we do the third album, there might be a second interludes of sorts.
Interesting. And we spoke about how you would prefer if people listen to one as a whole
Hmm.
instead of in separate songs.
Hmm.
Do you also want people to try to listen to one and two consecutively so that they get that they see where it lines up, where it
Yeah,
crosses over?
I hope people do it. Of course, it's a lot to ask. It's basically asking someone to listen for 1 hour and like what is it, 20 minutes to us consistently. So I'm pretty sure some people will do it or already have done it. It's not like I expect people to like do it on a daily basis or every time they listen to Mother. It would be cool, and I feel like it will be more appreciated the moment like the full cycle is there. You know, when a third album comes and maybe a fourth or whatever. I think the longer it goes, more people will appreciate the way it's written and that it's not in a typical way. I do understand it's also much heavier to start with because it's basically asking for a lot of attention and dedication to start listening to one and then listen to two. But I feel like yeah, it can be done. I think like if you're in the mood for an experience and not just a 4 minute song or whatever, I think you can definitely try. Would be nice.
So at the time we're having this conversation, the album has been out for a few weeks. By the time people
Hmm.
hear the episode, it'll be a couple months from the time we're having our conversation.
Hmm.
Do you have any plans for 2025 as far as tours and things like that?
Hmm. Yeah, we are definitely going to start. writing stuff. So that's definitely in the pipeline. Yeah, shows we're going to see what we can do. We hope to try and play some beautiful shows in Belgium and abroad. So let's hope by the time this releases, we have some cool stuff coming out and some cool shows we planned. But yeah, I feel like 2025 will also be a year of somewhat peace, as in the time we spent and waited for the second album to release was very intense, because even though there are a lot of waiting periods, it's also very intense because you want to release the album. So 2025 for me will definitely be a year of like calm and being happy it's out there. But yeah, writing, playing shows, and being at peace.
Sounds good. So the second Mother album is called Two.
Mm-hmm.
It's out now through Consoling Sounds. Tuur,
Yeah.
please tell everyone how they can order the album. What's the best way to get it?
The best way to get it right now is by browsing to the web shop of Consoling Sounds and buy the record there. We'll also set up our own web store through Bandcamp. But for right now, just go through the Consoling web store, and you can support us by buying your vinyl or CD there. We have two versions, a black and a colored vinyl, so you can choose which one you prefer.
And both the black and the ash gray versions are limited, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they are.
What about merch? Where does your merch go through?
Our merch goes through Bandcamp. Yeah, through Bandcamp itself.
And if people want to follow Mother online and get updates on possible tours and shows and things like that, what's the best way to do that?
We're very active on Instagram and Facebook, so you can definitely check us there. Just type in "This is Mother speaking," and you should find us somewhere there.
Very cool. Is there anything else you want to say?
Thank you for the support. It has been already very, very positive. A lot of nice things people are saying about the album. I'm very happy with the results. So thank you to everybody who listens to our music, who supports our music and our band. I also thank you to Adrian from the Use of Consciousness for inviting us to tell more about ourselves and our album.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Tuur.
No, you're welcome. Thank you very much, Adrian. I'm very happy we could do this conversation.